Thank you. Right, I will present my master's thesis. I have done my thesis for the Department of Physics and in the Nanoscience master's program. But my topic is a bit different than the usual nanoscience research topics. I've been researching the environmental aspects of nanoscience, nanotechnology. First of all, nanotechnology is one of the big enabling technologies of the 21st century, and there is big hopes for nanotechnology to solve all kinds of big problems in this world. Also, environmental problems. It has been hoped and expected that with nanotechnology we can get reductions in the use of environmentally problematic chemicals. We can reduce the consumption of energy and raw materials, and we can also reduce the generation of waste. But the harsh reality is that it's not all that only perfect. There are also problems with nanotechnology. For example, the manufacturing processes of nanomaterials, nanoproducts are usually very energy intensive. They consume a lot of energy. Also, when producing these materials, you are usually using some problematic chemicals as well. And there are a lot of unknowns related to the health and environmental effects of these materials. So, to find the right balance between the good sides and the bad sides, pros and cons, it's good to use and utilize life cycle thinking. Life cycle thinking means that in environmental context, means that you take into account all the different steps during the product life cycle, starting from the raw material extraction to material processing to manufacturing the product, using the product, and finally the disposal or recycling of the product or material. So when you take all these steps into account, you can find out if the product really is environmentally friendly, or is it actually worse for the environment than the conventional products. There are different tools for measuring these environmental aspects. Perhaps the carbon footprint is one of the most used ones. Carbon footprint measures the effects on climate change, how much greenhouse gases are produced during the whole life cycle of the product. Life cycle assessment, LCA, it's widely used in industry, and it takes different aspects into account. It's the most comprehensive assessment method that we have, but it's also very heavy to use because it takes all these different things into account. Now, in my thesis, I was researching what methods are the companies using and why they are using these methods, why they are making these assessments, and finally, how do they make them. I started my research with a simple company questionnaire. I sent an email to different Finnish nanotechnology companies and asked them if they have done this kind of assessments. And based on this questionnaire, I chose 3 companies to continue with, and I made interviews with them. These companies were Millidyne from Tampere, making different coatings, nano coatings. Vaisala from Vantaa, they are making different instruments, measurement instruments in meteorology, for example. And UPM is one of the world's biggest pulp and paper companies, and they are researching and developing nanocellulose, nanofibrous cellulose. In my company questionnaire, I found out that only 13% of the companies that I got a response from had done some sort of environmental assessments based on this kind of life cycle methods. And based on the interviews that I did with the companies, I found out I picked the most interesting results here. I have also other results, and you can find them in my thesis. But I think the most important and most interesting finding was that why the companies are making these assessments. They said that the customers are demanding them. There's legislation that demands that this kind of assessments have to be done. Then there's money. They can actually get savings when they save energy, they save raw materials, they save money, and that's good for companies. They can make profit. And finally, they are using this knowledge, this information in their own product development. Interestingly, nobody said anything about environment as such. They see that this is means for something bigger. Well, companies are interested in money. They are not so much interested in the environment itself. And I think this was an interesting finding. Another point that I talked about with the companies were the obstacles of using these methods with nanoproducts, nanomaterials. And there's a lack of good quality data, environmental data, and that's perhaps the most biggest obstacle in this kind of assessments. There's also a lack of awareness, of environmental awareness in the industry. That can result in that the supply chain, the suppliers in the supply chain have no information about their own products, and therefore also the company that is making the final product can't make reliable assessments on their own products. And then there's more lack of knowledge, especially in the toxicological aspects of these materials. We have no information, or very little information, if some material is toxic to the environment or to the humans. Therefore, the industry has a wish for the academia that more research is needed on the environmental aspects of nanomaterials and nanotechnology. Of course, the companies themselves are researching these things. UPM has done a lot to inspect the health effects of nanocellulose, for example. But as the purpose of the academia is to make the basic research, the companies are wishing that also here the researchers would do more environmentally focused research. Finally, I would like to thank my supervisor, Hannu Häkkinen, for giving me pretty free hands when doing this. I've been doing this research with, or I've been employed by MIGTEC in Mikkeli. I would like to thank my boss Juha Kauppinen and our managing director Vesa Sorasahi for taking me to work on this topic. I've been working and making this research also for the nanotechnology cluster program, and finally the Center of Expertise program, the OSCE program, has been the party who has been paying my salary. And finally, if you would like to know more, I can provide you with my final thesis, and you can also contact me anytime. Thank you.
Questions? So what was your return rate of your questions? You said that 13% of the companies which are doing assessment of those ones who returns the question. How many returns you got in percentage?
I got about 70%.
How many is that in numbers?
23. It could be better statistical coverage, but these companies I found the most interesting.
You said 23 and you have 13% and you have just the 3 companies who are doing it all.
That is correct.
Uh-huh. So did anyone else even answer or say that they are not doing it, or they didn't want to? They didn't reply your email at all? Did you call afterwards?
23 companies answered to me, and 20 of them said that they have not done.
Okay.
And 3 said that they have done.
They have done these ones.
Any other questions?
So I have the second question.
Mm-hmm.
So if they are asking for more research for academia, what kind of format they wish to have those answers? If we are writing just academic papers, I don't think that helps at all. Did they specify at all what kind of research they wish, or what kind of research results, or how should it be done?
I believe that also academic papers are very fine. Okay. For example, and if you can collaborate in that with for example, the Institute of Occupational Health. The Finnish Institute of Occupational Health is one of the leaders in this area. They are coordinating the European-wide research on nanomaterials and their toxicity. So I believe that also academic papers are very good.
there similar studies done in other countries, like you did?
I haven't found any.
Okay.
When I was beginning my research, I did some review on similar research, and I also contacted my networks in Europe and in the US, and they didn't say anything about similar work done.
You also said that UPM, they do their own research.
They are doing their own research, yes.
Do you know if they are sharing their findings in any way with the company?
Yes, I believe they are doing research on the health effects of these nanomaterials, and they are not doing the research only on their own, but with the Institute of Occupational Health, for example, and VTT and other research institutes.
Any more questions? Actually, I would like to ask you, your topic has been somewhat unusual. You're kind of on the frontier line in this topic. How has it been to work, to do a master's in this field? Can you recommend it to someone else?
Well, yes, why not? I believe it's a very important topic, and this research has enabled me to combine my passion both for nanotechnology, business, and the environment. So in this research I could combine all of them, and so I was very happy doing this research, and I will continue working on similar field also in the future.
Can you comment how, in which way are you extending this research, or?
No, I'm working as a development manager in Mikkeli. I'm helping the local companies, local nanotechnology companies, for example, and local industry also otherwise. So in that way, I'm working with nanotechnology, and also I'm preparing a sort of green economy program to be started next year in Mikkeli region. So I can combine a bit environment and nanotechnology in my work. But unfortunately, I don't think I will be doing any academic research on this.
So unfortunately. Just a research, so